NASA and its international partners had made some updates to the spacecraft traffic. So here with me today, I have a special guest to talk about some of these updates and what this means for spacecraft now, the crew now, and future spacecraft that will be visiting the space station. Kenny Todd, the Space Station Operations Integration Manager, long title. I think I got that right this time. Thank you very much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
To talk about some of this stuff. So first of all, let's just talk about, I know that there was the Progress 59 issue, and we were unable, unfortunately, to have that cargo craft, that's the Russian cargo craft, docked to the space station. Can you explain to me, is this new update a result of the 59 Progress?
Absolutely. Our Russian colleagues are working very hard to try to understand the root cause of the problem. But as with all things, when you have a major failure such as they've had, they have to go through their standard anomaly resolution process. So they formed a commission. It's going to take some time to work through that. When you look at some of the upcoming events that we had with the return of the crew, in addition to that, the launch of the next crew upcoming, and then the upcoming Progress launches as well, they made the decision, and we think it's a prudent one to reshuffle their schedule a little bit and provide them the extra time necessary to finish their analysis and determine the root cause.
Okay, and so I know that 41S, which is the 41 Soyuz spacecraft that would be bringing Commander Virts, Samantha Cristoforetti, and Anton Shkaplerov back home, they would be departing today on the original plan. So what's the next plan for those guys?
Yeah, for us, having our Russian colleagues come out with a new schedule and give us at least a feel for when they might try to bring this crew home really gives us a plan for how we might want to deal on orbit with the extra time with the crew. Up to this point, we weren't sure if it's a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and now that we have a little more certainty in the return plan, we can go and start to lay in some objectives for the crew to try to accomplish. We've got a lot going on in the summer time frame, particularly in the area of trying to do some reconfigurations of station. And so we're looking to try to move some of those activities forward a little bit, because we know that based on the current Russian plan that we're probably going to have a little bit longer of what we call an indirect period where we'll be at 3 crew on board the station. And so anything that we can bring in that particular part of the schedule back to the left a little bit and try to get that work done with Terry and Samantha, that's what we're going to try to do.
Okay, and so what does this mean for all the future? I mean, is everything going to be shifting to the right, or will this also mean that maybe something changes in one of perhaps the next mission is shortened, therefore the rest of it kind of stays on track, or does everything just completely shift to the right? Because I know a lot of this, the Progress in Soyuz, is scheduled months in advance.
You bet. I think a large part of that is still to be determined.
Okay.
I mean, quite frankly, what we've got is a good set of planning dates right now that gives the entire partnership an opportunity to try to figure out how best to use the resources on orbit, plus get ready to go figure out when we need to fly
Okay.
things. And so when it comes to the longer term schedule for our Russian colleagues and how they want to put that schedule together, I think really a lot of that's going to be driven by what they find in their root cause analysis. So we'll work with the dates they've given us, and I think we'll have a good plan.
Okay, and so what are we looking at for the next Soyuz launch?
At this point, we're looking at the end of July timeframe, the middle to the end of July timeframe, which when you consider that time frame, it'll be shortly before we have an HTV vehicle show up. We'll most likely still have SpaceX 7 on board,
Okay.
and so it'll be great to have the extra crew show up in that time frame. We'll put them to work, and we'll do as much as we can do. As far as when they'll return and whether or not that'll affect their return schedule based on when they actually launch, again, we'll just have to wait and see where our Russian colleagues end up on that.
Okay, and also, also, I'm trying to think of what I was thinking of. Yeah. So also with the Soyuz being delayed on until July, you said. So the Progress 60 was originally scheduled to be launching in August. So that's been accelerated. Can you explain what the reason was behind that?
You bet. When you look at the commonality between the launchers for the Progress and the Soyuz, certainly certainly before we launch a crewed vehicle, it probably makes better sense to say let's launch a cargo vehicle using that same launcher, ensure that whatever corrections, whatever things they've been able to determine through the commission that they wanted to repair, that all those have been factored in and test them against a cargo vehicle as opposed to a crewed vehicle. And so we think it's prudent. We support their approach there, and we're very supportive of their direction at this point.
Okay, and the supply, we're good on supplies aboard the space station?
At this point, we can last well out into the fall, and the one thing that we're at right now relative to our logistics train, by having our commercial resupply vehicles here in the U.S., that coupled with our HTV that the JAXA team provides, we can weather these kinds of storms. And so with just what we have on board right now and the current state of our logistics train, I think we're in really good shape.
Okay. And what can you tell me real quick about the investigation that of what had occurred with 59? Where are we with that?
Well, again, based on what our Russian colleagues are saying and telling us through press reports and so forth, and we have some folks who are participating and sitting in on some of their discussions. They're clearly focused at this point on the interface between the third stage and the Progress, and so I know they're looking at their data and looking at their telemetry and seeing if they can get root cause. It's a very difficult problem to solve, and certainly we will support whatever they need, and we're very supportive of their efforts so far. They seem to be doing a very good job at trying to get to the bottom of the problem.
Great. And also we have the 1-year mission that is now underway with NASA astronaut Scott Kelly and the Russian cosmonaut Mikhail Kornienko. Can you tell me if there are any impacts to that particular mission on the schedule changes?
At this point, there's nothing that we've defined. There was a little bit of hardware on 59 Progress that our Russian friends lost, but it's not anything we can't work around. So we're continuing with our science objectives, and we don't see any major impacts to the plan that we've got for Scott and Mikhail.
Okay, great. Well, as always, we really appreciate you coming and giving us this update. I know that we have notified the crew aboard the space station, and recently Samantha Cristoforetti had posted a tweet about her thoughts on it, and it looks like she supports her stay aboard the space station, and all are good to go and continuing their work aboard the space station. So we're good with that. Again, thank you so much for the update.
My pleasure. Thanks.